Hey, it's nutritionist, maintainable weight loss coach Trisha Mann here, also the author of The Optimal Eating Solution. And today on this Monday, I'm talking about 7 different ways that you can eat healthy at home when everybody else in your house isn't. So I posted a video a week or two ago, and it was talking about the number one way that you can eat healthy or optimal at home, the top tip, and that is to get non-optimal foods out of your house. Well, a lot of people ask the question, hi Becky, so good to see you. How can you do that when you live with other people, especially during stay home, and they're not eating optimal, or they're eating junk, or they're not eating healthy? So I'm going to talk about 7 ways to do that. All is not lost. You can still definitely help yourself. But first, I hope you're healthy. I hope you're mentally staying okay during stay home and this pandemic right now. That I'm sending you a lot of love and strength and courage right now. Also, around this topic of eating optimally at home when others aren't, I really want you to remember to have compassion for yourself. So be kind. Hi, Danica. So great to see you. Be kind to yourself if you are struggling with eating healthy or optimally at home right now. And the reason I say this is because you are a human being. As the animal that we are wired intrinsically to seek out the food that has the most calories per bite, because it's going to give us the most dopamine hit, the most pleasure, and the most calories, because when we first evolved, we needed those to survive. So that innate mechanism is still there. So there's nothing wrong with you. So just be super kind and loving and nice to yourself if you are actually struggling with this topic. And the second thing I'll say, in order for these tips to work that I'm going to talk about, you have to know what optimal or healthy looks like to you very specifically. So what that means is you have to know what's optimal for you, what is healthy for you. You have to have very clear, specific guidelines for yourself, because if you don't, you're not going to be able to implement any of it. And if you need those guidelines, reach out to me. You can read my book, The Optimal Eating Solution, Maintainable Weight Loss and Longevity, even if you can't exercise. And there's a whole lot of other resources and videos on that topic. All right. Number 1, if you are struggling to eat healthy, living with other people right now because they are not eating optimally, number 1, share yourself. What the does that mean, share yourself? So you need to be able to have a conversation with those you live with, your children, your partner, your friends, your roommates, whatever. This is going to require you being vulnerable. You have to share and say why this is important to you, why eating better and optimally is important to you right now. They have to know how you're feeling, what the effect of having this junk food, etc., is having on you in the house. Now that's different than saying you can't eat this and trying to control them. You have to be able to express, I'm really concerned about my health right now. I'm really concerned about my weight right now, affecting my mental health. I'm on the brink of getting diabetes. So I'm really struggling right now. And you can ask for their help. Say, I have some ideas and ways that you can support me. Are you willing to listen to these things? And depending upon the people you live with, they may be supportive or they may not be. So just remember, you only have control over yourself. Unless you have children, that's a different story. We're going to talk about that. So it's going to require you to have a conversation with people. All right. Step number 2, swap temptation for turnoff. Ooh, what does that mean? Swap temptation for turnoff. Okay. So if your husband, for example, let's say he loves dessert food. Okay, and I'm going to give you an example from my life, minus the husband, because I don't have one of those. I love chocolate. If chocolate was in my house, I've been eating optimally for a decade. I don't care. It's only going to be a matter of time until I eat the chocolate. But if your partner or someone you're living with wants dessert, but they don't love chocolate so much, I mean, like, they still buy it, but it's not like their favorite thing in the world. Maybe they really also like jelly beans. I like jelly beans. So if there's jelly beans in my house, it's going to be so much easier for me to not eat those because I don't like them. So that's why step number 1 is so important. You have to have this conversation. and let somebody know how you're feeling, how you're struggling, because then they can say, all right, well, for dessert, I'll just buy something that I like that you don't. You're going to swap your turnoff or your temptation food for your turnoff food, but it's still be good to them. Does that make sense? Shoot me a like if that makes sense. You guys get that? There's a bunch of people watching right now. So a heart if that makes sense. Or if you have any questions or comments. Okay. All right. That's one of my favorite ones. It makes it so much easier when that temptation is removed. All right. Number 3, out of sight, out of mind. So again, this whole goal is reducing the availability of junk food non-optimals for you even when they're in your house. So let's say your partner's like, nope, I'm still buying my chocolate. I don't care. Either they hide it or you hide it in a place where it is a lot harder for you to access it. So that means it might be in the cabinets above the freezer with stuffed behind the salt in the flour, so the only way for you to get it is to get up on a chair and get it. Now you still might do that, right? Because you know that it's there, but if they put it somewhere that you are not going to see on a daily, regular basis, you want to remove the temptation from being in your face all of the time. You do not want to see something you are trying to avoid in the fridge when you open it 70 times a day. So whether that is even within the fridge, you put food you're trying to avoid in a drawer where you have zero reason to open because none of your food is in that drawer. Make sense? And again, there's nothing wrong with you if you need to that. It just means you're a human being. That's it. All right. Next step. Number 4, stay stocked with foods you love. So if I have optimal foods in my house, even if I'm living with someone else, and let's say, going back to the dessert example, if I have frozen bananas in my freezer and I know I can make banana ice cream super easily, and I love eating it, and it tastes great, and it's also really good for me, it's going to be a lot easier for me to avoid non-optimal foods. I got something really yummy and tasty for myself that I like. So keep and I know this is more challenging right now because grocery shopping feels icky. It's harder to do. So when you do go to those stores and you do go get groceries, make sure you have a list with the things that you really need to stock for yourself that are optimal and that you really enjoy eating. Overdo it on those foods for yourself, because when you have the things you really love and they're available to you, it's going to make it less likely you're going to go towards the things that aren't as good for you. Cool? How we doing? Is this helping? Give me a like or a comment if this is helping you in some way. I hope so. Hi, Lenny. I see you. All right. Next, number 5. All right. If you live with other people, especially for my ladies out there, if you live with other people and you are the one that is going to the grocery store, you have control over what you're purchasing. Okay? So if you shop, you choose what food is going in the cart, especially if it's something that you're struggling with. So let's say you don't want to eat ice cream, but your partner wants ice cream. Your partner can go buy ice cream, especially if you've already attempted to go through all these other steps. You don't buy something you don't want to buy. If they want ice cream, they can go get it themselves. That's it. All right. Awesome. Number 6, if you have children, parents decide, not children, especially if you have young children. You are the parent. You decide what food is stocked in the house. Now, it doesn't mean you can't have treats for them, but again, you can implement our earlier rule of swap temptation for turnoff. You can make one of their treats something that turns you off. Or 2 options between 2 treats, and they can be not awful treats for them. And if you have that knowledge, you're able to do that. And if you don't, just keep following me. I'm happy to help you. So you have to be the parent. You have to put rules in place. What is best for you to eat is what is best for your child to eat. Awesome. All right, number 7. A lot of those 6 tips should really, really help, especially when you combine them all. Accumulation matters. The more you do all of these things, the easier it's going to be on yourself, because remember, you're a human being. You are designed to eat the food that's going to give you the most calorie per bite. So there's nothing wrong with you when willpower doesn't work. You can't fight that beast. So you want to make it as easy on yourself as possible. So this is the last thing. I do this with my clients. We identify what's called sabotaging thoughts. It's like cognitive behavioral therapy for eating food. So let's say there's a food that you struggle with temptation wise, and you see it and you want to say, what thought am I having right before I eat that food? And it might be, ah, screw it. Like, I don't care. That just might be it. Or I'll run it off later. Which doesn't work. That's just false, by the way. Identify that thought, and then you can create a helpful response. And you want to read this to yourself every single morning. You make a habit of it. You either on your phone, or it's a post-it when you're brushing your teeth, and you read it to yourself every morning. So here's one in case this is helpful for you. If your sabotaging thought is, I want that, and in the moment you're just like, I want that, you can say to yourself, me not gaining weight, me boosting my immune system right now, me staying energized, me preventing diabetes right now, me preventing having to go to the doctor right now is my number one priority. And not getting sick is my number one priority in life right now. It's more, me not getting sick and me gaining weight is more important to me than ice cream. You have to remind yourself that these goals are more important to you than ice cream. It's really hard in that moment, so that's why you reframe yourself in the morning. I'm going to feel blank after I eat that. Instead of eating ice cream, I will leave the kitchen. All right, that was a lot, but what you can do is every morning read that to yourself. It's going to help remind you. You can set an alarm on your phone that it goes off 3 times a day, and you read that to yourself 3 times a day. That's part of what habit change looks like, especially if you cannot get tempting foods out of your house. That is the easiest thing to do, is just get them out, especially right now because you are home. So if you have other tips that you want someone else to know that you think is really going to help them, please comment. What's something that you've done before? When you are trying to avoid junk food and someone has it in the house, what other than just willpower? What are any tips or tricks? And if any of these tips or tricks were helpful for you, please comment. Let me know which of these you're going to implement, when it's just going to hold yourself accountable. I'd be happy to hear. And again, I hope you're staying safe and healthy, staying home right now, but still moving your body in a safe way with a mask, gloves, lots of distance. Is very important right now. So I'm sending you love and strength and courage and good health, and reach out if you have any questions. Thank you so much for watching. I am so